now they're going to be receiving the ball in tighter situations, thinking about going back to the previous weeks about receiving in tight situations and tight spaces. So the blue might have the ball here, playing with the yellow. Can they turn and play into the target player? Or if they're marked tightly, can they create that width again so the blues can play directly into the opposite target player? Hi, my name is Todd and I'm the Regional Coach Development Officer for the East. This is a 6-week session programme on passing and receiving for ages 12 to 16. This is week 4 of the 6-week session programme. So this is week 4 of the session programme and we're going to break it down to a whole part whole. So we're going to start with the whole part first, and how it's going to work is you're going to have 2 end zones and a middle zone on the pitch here. In each zone, you're going to have a target player. On here, they are the blue players. You're going to have a 2v2 in one zone and a 1v1 in the final zone here. The objective of the game is, can the team in possession transfer the ball through each target player to gain a point? So the game will start with the player in the end zone having the ball, and the yellow team are going to be in possession for this example. So the yellow team are trying to transfer the ball across through the target players to gain a point. As soon as the ball reaches the 1v1 zone with the attacking team, and the yellow attacker can go and join in and the defender can go follow. If the ball reaches the target player, the yellows will then gain 1 point and then they will work going the other way. If the red team or the defending team regain possession, they're then trying to transfer the ball across, just like the yellows did, into there. A red can join and the yellow will defend. When the session is in flow and your players understand the roles and the objective of the game, you're now going to start working with the players on how they can create space and exploit the space as well. So we're going to be looking at kind of the depth, which will be your target player here, the height, which is the middle target player, and can the yellows team, as the team in possession, create that width. So what we'll start to see here is the reds might decide to pick up a player for player, which will allow the blues to transfer the ball directly through exploiting that space as the yellows have created it for them. From here also, what you might start to see happen, the reds and the defending team might now start to protect that space and work that out. So what you want from the players in possession is to really create that width to get on the ball, to try and draw a player out to then try and exploit that space. You also might allow your target player to try and get on the ball, create that width as well and that height to transfer the ball across, to then play into the final zone. What we want to think about as well while we're doing this is also the timing of their runs into that space. So as the ball goes into the middle target player and the yellow team, as they're the team in possession, are receiving the ball, that timing of the run from the other attacker to join is crucial to be able to play into the target player. With the whole part of the session, just make sure you rotate your players around so each team has a go at being the target players. So look to roughly do the games 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how your players are doing and the time that you have for your session. Now we've done the whole part of the session, we're now going to break it down into 2 mini pitches, so looking at that part before we go back into the game. So here we're going to have 2v2 in the middle, and you're going to have a target player in each zone at each end. So you could also, with the pitch here, you could set up 2 mini pitches going this way so you don't have to keep changing around your practice setup to then go back to the hole. So something to think about in your pitch space. Really simple game here. We'll work with this pitch here. So the target player will start with the ball. So for this example as well, the yellow team will be in possession. Can they try and transfer the ball across into the target player like so? Blues can also go directly and still the yellow team are in possession for this example here. What we're looking at is now they're receiving in really tight spaces. So in the whole part here, they're thinking about their timing of their runs, creating that space to exploit the space. Here now they're going to be receiving the ball in tighter situations, thinking about going back to the previous weeks about receiving in tight situations and tight spaces. So the blue might have the ball here, playing with the yellow. Can they turn and play into the target player? Or if they're marked tightly, can they create that width again so the blues can play directly into the opposite target player. So what we're looking to see in the part session in the 2v2s is lots of repetition of what they've just done in the hole, broken down into that part. So they're going to have lots of goes of thinking about, can I create that width to create that for the player to exploit the space? Or am I creating space to get on the ball to maybe turn and play into the target player? Or creating that space to receive the ball, drawing the defender in to bounce back so the target player can then exploit the space again. So they're going to have lots of decisions to make and lots of goes at this, so they can start to recognise, okay, how do I lose my marker? Am I losing my marker to receive the ball to turn to play? Am I trying to bring my marker with me to create space for my teammate instead? So we're now going to move back into the whole part of the session. So the pitch will be the same setup, however there'll be 2 goals at either end. You can also set up the goals at the beginning of the session and just move them back so you don't have to keep moving the pitch. And as I stated earlier, you can also have the mini pitches within the whole part so you don't have to change the pitch setup around too much. The only difference here now is the end zones are also taken away. So you'll have your middle zone and now 2 goals at the end. This time they're now going to go directional. So the yellows are going to attack this goal, the reds are going to attack this goal here. The target players will still be active, however, the 2 target players at each end are going to be acting goalkeepers. So they're not going to save it, they're just going to be playing with their feet and being either that deep lying centre back or maybe that or the centre mid, for example here. So same setup again, 2v2, 1v1, and target players 1 at each end and 1 in the middle. The yellow team will be in possession for this example, so they're trying to transfer the ball across into the target player to now go and score. So what we're going to have to think about now, as they're not trying to get the ball straight to that target player, is the timing of the runs from the team in possession. So as the ball is transferred here, is the attacking player now making that run into the final zone to then create hopefully maybe a 2v1 before the defender follows them to then try and finish. If the acting goalkeeper regains possession of the ball, they will then work with the red team, who will then transfer the ball across, trying to finish in the other end. Some things to think about in this setup here. It will be very fluid for the team that's in possession. So if the yellows have a shot and the acting goalie seems to receive to their feet, the reds will now go and finish in this goal. But here you can see there's a 1v1, so a red player, attacking player, can drop in to also help their teammate out to become a 2v2. So the game will be very fluid. Players will have to really think about their timing of their run and exploiting that space. But it all links in from the part, creating that height, depth and width to help your teammates get on the ball. So to finish off this session, you're now going to allow the players to go anywhere on the pitch. However, you're still going to have your acting goalkeepers to try and receive the ball to feet to then keep the game flowing. So players really now need to think about creating that width, looking at the height and the depth to try and play through. So they might still try and play through the target player to then go and score, or the target player now might actually create width to create space for someone else to exploit to go finish. So you'll now start to see if the players have understood from the hole at the start back to the part into the hole, and can they start making those decisions, creating that space for themselves or for their teammates. Just something to think about at the final bit is just to make sure you rotate your players, so acting goalkeepers rotate so everyone gets a go at trying each position. So what we're looking for our players on match day is we've worked a lot on creating space, exploiting that space through height, width and depth. So what you want to look for from your players is, are they creating that space? And that might be through the width, creating height for depth, and then can they exploit that space themselves, or can a teammate exploit the space instead?